Oi, oi, guys. It's Friday morning. Up and at 'em. How you doing it? And it's beautiful out here today. It's really, really nice day. Going to St Augustine later, which is a beautiful town. Well, I like it. It might not be beautiful for everybody, right? But I think it is. But if ever you're in the Central Florida area, then go and visit St Augustine. It's a really nice town. I don't know why my phone's going dark, but I'll turn it around. I don't know what's going on there. Weird. But it's a really, really nice town. Really nice town. It's old, very old. I think it's the oldest town in the US, I believe. And it was, the Spanish have been there, the English have been there, and there's a lot of influence around that. And it's a really, really cool town. You can take a tour around it and everything. It's a lot of history there. Great nightlife. Some good restaurants. So go and check it out. Really nice shops too, by the way, guys. Don't think it's just one big party town, because it's not. There's some really nice shops there, and they do the Christmas lights a lot around this time of year. So if you're really in around this time of year over here, I would go and have a look, because if you like looking at the Christmas lights and that's a good place to go and start. But today I want to talk about that thing that we forget: patience. Especially around this time of year, guys, right? Having that patience. Whew. Because we can get into some situations where we start getting angry and frustrated. And that can be down to patience. That sometimes could be down on our side too. Could be a trigger somewhere, right? Let me get that camera out of the sun there that keeps poking through the trees. But it's that thinking before you act, thinking before you act. And because what I'll end up doing, guys, is that frustration and that anger is going to get the better of you, and your mind's going to actually roll with that. And that could be just something that's triggered somewhere, yeah, and it doesn't warrant getting that kind of angry over something. And that comes down to having that patience and that breathing in between something that may be there. And you feel yourself getting a little bit frustrated, and it's like, okay, let me just breathe a little bit, right? And having that patience with somebody, sometimes it could be around even, someone opening gifts and stuff, yeah. And people get frustrated because someone's taking their time, and people are like, come on, what's about? Hey, right? Why not? Why rush that? Why want to get on and get it done? Why not let that person just breathe, right? Yeah, if it's going on half a day and they're sitting there reading their book that they just got, right? But having that patience and that presence. If you have the patience, you'll become present. And if you can become present, you can work. Yeah, you can work on your mind with that. And the first thing is becoming aware that it's even there. And the way to do that is really tuning into what your emotions are doing with situations that's going on around you. How about at the dinner table? Yeah? You're all sitting down, getting ready for dinner. Someone starts talking about stories, and yeah, you may not be quite into the story, okay, but they are. And there may be a lot of other people around that table that are very interested and may connect to it. So have the patience, just breathe. Your time will come to talk, just breathe. And listen. Don't ignore somebody just because you're like, they're not making sense. Right? What are they talking about? Why don't you listen? If you don't know what they're talking about, why don't you ask? I don't quite understand it. I'll tell you what, when you do that, and you catch on to that patience, you become patient and you become present. If there is a situation like that where you're like, what's this person talking about? Ask. Excuse me. I do it in therapy sessions. Yeah. If I've got the other person talking and I'm not like catching on to what they're saying, I'll stop and be like, hang on a minute, and I'll either reflect back to them what I believe I'm hearing, or I'll say, hey, can we back up a minute? Because I'm not quite understanding where you're coming from. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, if you don't do that, what are you gonna just sit there and go, yeah, and just nod your head? These people could be really, really interesting people, but that patience, it's that patience in being able to sit with some of the emotions that you may be feeling that may be coming from somewhere else that have nothing to do with that situation, right? Because it's not the person's fault, they're just doing what they're doing. But having that patience. And the other thing is, like, you know, you're going to have a lot of kids around. If you're around kids, there's going to be a lot of kids around. If you're not a family-orientated person, which they are out there, if you're not a family-orientated person, you know, you've got the choice. If you're going to go to a group where there's going to be a lot of people, and especially a lot of kids, you know, you've got choices, right? You can either not go, or you can have patience. Yeah? And go and know that you're putting yourself into that situation, right? Nobody's doing it to you. Nobody's saying, right, come up, and they got you on a chain and they're dragging you there. That ain't happening. So when, you know, having that patience, start breathing and having that patience. What about one of those kids starts opening up his drum set and starts hammering on your shins with a drumstick, right? Little, you know, 4-year-old comes up, boom, hits you in the shin with a drumstick. These young kids like that, you know, they're trying to find out. They're trying to figure things out. And yeah, it might hurt, and you might go, shit, that bloody hurt. But if you go at a kid like that, what message you sending to the kid, right? You could be picking up, especially if you go at them like a bloody bear, right? And you absolutely shit the life out of them. Then what happens? Now they've got a program. They might not ever pick that drumstick up again. You don't know, right? So it's just that patience. Yeah, it hurt, and you of course, yeah, you're going to have a response. But hold that gap between that blowing off anger and keeping a calm mind, right? There's no point in getting bent out of shape over things you can't control. So you might as well have patience with it, right? You didn't have control over that unless you saw them coming. Then who's that down to, right? If a kid's walking towards me swinging a drumstick around, I'm going to be like, hey, let me have a look at that drumstick and just talk to them, and right? Mix with them. Maybe they're trying to get your attention. How about that, right? What about those that we may not be paying attention to? We're all talking, and they keep coming up. Hey, look at this. You're not paying attention, right? They walk away. Hey, look at this. I want to show you this. And all of a sudden, crack, you get one in the shin, right? Now you're listening, right? Have the patience. If someone comes up and they're saying, oh, look at this, give him a couple of minutes. Give that kid a couple of minutes. Oh, show me. What you got there? How does that work? Take an interest. Have the patience. Breathe. And other people around you too, right? It's having patience with other people. Now, remember your boundaries too, guys, right? Because, yeah, boundaries come into play as well. You ain't gonna go walking into, say, a situation where there's a whole group of people and it's all kicking off and there's boundaries in place and nobody's adhering to the boundaries. You know, that's when you got to patience. Okay, the patience is with keeping your demeanor in check, keeping yourself from getting angry. That's where your patience lies, and being able to walk away. That's consequence to whatever's going on, right? Or whatever a situation is that you got those boundaries down. But patience is a different thing. Patience is breathing and allowing. Sit with what's going on within you, yeah, and ask the why. Why am I feeling angry? Why am I feeling, right? Have the patience. Breathe, guys. It's not worth just wrecking a whole situation because we get bent off. We get bent off and get angry, bent out of shape and get angry, and all we needed to do was stop, breathe, maybe walk away from the situation if need be. But breathe, guys. Put that gap. Patience is a big subject, and it affects everybody in different ways. So remember to, morning. So remember to give that space, guys, and have that patience, breathe. Hope everybody has a good holiday season. Remember the PMA, remember the PPA, and don't forget yourselves, guys. Have patience with yourselves as well. Yeah? Have patience with yourselves. Stay the course, guys. Namaste.